Yes people, what is happening? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Wire series. This is episode 1 of season 5. Holy shit, time flies, we are already on the final season of The Wire. I can't believe how quick time flies. Last episode, the season 4 finale, it was quite a miserable finale to be honest. We saw Randy have to go to the group home and have to fight for himself when he got that group stomped down because they all know in the group home he's a snitch as well. We saw Bubbles try to hang himself because he just let Sherrod take that hot shot. Marlowe is still prospering away out here. We saw Chris and Snoop get arrested only to be released and then go and fucking kill Bodhi. Obviously it was it Monk who got the kill shot on Bodhi, but they were all there to kill him. I can't believe Bodhi got killed last episode, that fucking sucks. Duquan is now on the corners with Michael selling heroin. We saw Michael become a murderer as well to get those corners. He had to shoot a guy in the head, so Michael is now a confirmed killer. God, so much bullshit happened last episode. There was a few upsides. We saw Cutty now with the nurse who was tending to his injury. They're now together as a couple. We saw McNulty go back up into the major crimes unit in order to go after Marlowe, and he's going to have him locked in his sights this season. And Namond is now living with Bunny Colvin, which is great to see. I'm curious as to how this season's going to play out. Usually we get introduced to a whole new host of characters, but with this being the last season, are they going to finally tie many of these characters together? Are they going to continue to tell a story in and of itself? I have no idea how this season's going to run. But as always, there is but only one way to find out. This is episode 1 of season 5, more with less. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it.
Your own fucking running partner ain't in the next room putting you in. We even went to Mickey D's for him because he was so motherfucking helpful.
Trying to pay him off with a Happy Meal.
And I still ain't saying shit to y'all.
Yeah.
Why not? What the fuck?
Couldn't protest his innocence with a face full of fries. What you gonna do?
This shit actually works, huh?
Hell yeah. Americans are stupid people by and large. We pretty much believe whatever we're told.
Don't be so harsh on your own nation. I'm sure there is a lot of intelligent people in America, surrounded by a flock of idiots just like every other country.
Is your name, in fact, Deshaun Fredericks?
Yeah.
This guy seems like he is buying their bullshit 100% as well. This ain't even a lie detector, it's a fucking photocopier.
Lying motherfucker.
The machine is never wrong, son.
Fuck, man.
Surely there is no way this would happen in real life. He must know what a fucking photocopier is.
The bigger the lie, the more they believe.
I refuse to believe that guy did not know what a photocopier was. That being said, the level of manipulation used by Bunk there, shame on you.
Walk the straight and narrow track.
Not sure about the new intro remix. It's probably my least favourite theme so far. I hope that doesn't foreshadow the season. I know a lot of people think this season is the worst, so here's hoping it's not.
Help me keep the devil.
That was a really strange camera shot there of the news reporter compared to most of the shots they used for the intro. Stood out like a sore thumb. By the way, if I look extra tired today, I got 1 hour's sleep last night because of toothache. And I know you don't have to tell me I already always look tired as fuck. I know, I have trouble sleeping.
We got one coming in, unidentified number 1 male.
Is this Major Crimes Unit again? What are they looking for? Ah, they're back on Marlowe, okay.
Hey, you know, I heard a story about you when I was back in the West.
It's not true.
Haven't even told it yet.
Whatever it is, it's not true.
It's a good policy to take.
I read this report where you got blowed by this whore, and you actually wrote it that you got blowed.
You believe everything you read?
It wasn't a blowjob, there was one riding him and the other one was doing something else, okay?
Split it 60-40. You want better? You need to tool up. And wait for Chris, Snoop, and the rest of my people compare call on your people.
So we gonna be brief with all you motherfuckers.
Just straight up telling him, take it for the price I'm paying you, otherwise we're coming to kill you all if you go independent. That is when you know he has seized control of the empire entirely. When he can just dictate his own prices now.
You're bound on Fulton.
Lester, coming your way.
Holy shit, the whole team is out on this one. That moped guy does not know how fucked he is.
Today he's an SIC. Tomorrow he might be a newly minted lieutenant.
You know, Carver actually deserves his promotion.
Commander, you useless fucking humps.
So he's a senior sergeant now. That's awesome.
What the fuck is going on with our hours?
Easy, easy. If I had an answer, you'd have an answer. I'm in the same boat as you are.
Oh shit, he's getting his political side down pat as well.
Shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down! In your fucking seats!
That was almost as bad as like when Presbeluski was trying to quieten down the class of kids last season.
That's 65 hours of worthless paper right here.
Officer Brown, sit your ass! Sit!
Oh shit, Carver has got that boss edge to him now. Bit of authority to him he definitely didn't have in the earlier seasons.
Promises were made, promises will be kept.
That's an elaborate sergeant badge he's got on his head. It looks like a novelty belt buckle.
No marked or unmarked units can be shopped on Dickman Street until further notice.
Is this Tommy having to make cutbacks across the board to reduce the school deficit, maybe? Hey, real life landsman, how have you been?
We can't even pay the OT.
Gave him the professionalism bit, right?
In the real world, they pay professionals. That's why we call them pros.
So they're not even getting the overtime pay? Surely that can't even be legal.
You're the one whining like a little bitch, Bobby.
Jesus Christ. Oh, wow. I mean, his hat didn't have to accidentally twist to the hilarious sidey baseball cap angle, but it did, and we appreciate that.
These guys haven't had an honest paycheck in weeks. We have no fucking morale, Sergeant.
It's so hypocritical. They would arrest anybody they saw doing that on the street, but they're happy to do it in their own car park.
You gotta meet. Want me to come? Nah. You go check on your corner. I'll send word if it's on.
Fuck. I knew this season was going to start with Michael basically the right hand of Chris now, which puts him quite high up in the ranks in Marlowe's organisation. Marlowe doesn't have too many straight out shooters like that.
Marlowe's on the move.
Should we follow?
Why? You know where he's going.
How are they ever going to get Marlowe though? He doesn't touch the packages. They need to be following the people below Marlowe, Chris, Snoop, etc.
They're still coming, just a year late. Right now, I gotta throw every dollar at the schools, but you tell your people, I know I made promises.
I do sympathise with Tommy at this point. I mean, just to get lumped with that financial conundrum is such bullshit. Royce should have given him more of a heads up. I mean, I think he did say some fleeting comment warning him it's not as easy as it looks, but obviously Tommy took that for granted at the time. He was so singularly focused on winning.
We need to take away the 10-hour cap on secondary employment.
Morale is at rock bottom. You need to throw our people a bone. You could lose them for good.
This shit is so brutal. If there just literally isn't enough money, what can you do? Your people suffer. How do you fix this when there's so many greedy people at the top wanting the money for themselves before it goes to anywhere that can actually help anything?
When the governor threw that 50-some million on the table, you should have picked that shit up.
He takes the state bailout and he never becomes governor.
True. Norman makes a good point there. If he'd have taken that money, yes, he would have been surrendering the school system to the state, but it would have given him so much more money to throw about in the other districts and improve things in. I do agree with Norman in what he's saying there.
Boy folded up. You taking our shit 60-40. Yeah, I mean, nigga show no heart at all.
So the guy just wilted to Marlowe's take it or leave it offer. And what else could he have done?
Watch it with a spyglass. Yeah, the youngins all climbing up. Yeah.
So they are onto the Major Crimes Unit following them as well. Already I get the feeling this season might be all about the game of cat and mouse between Marlowe and the Major Crimes Unit. Which is good, it's what I want to see, to be honest.
We've been on this guy for months, man. He doesn't slip.
And no one's kicking out OT.
Wow, even the Major Crimes Unit ain't getting the overtime pay. Shit.
Marcus, you got a count for me? Spider, you got a count for me? For you? No.
Spider's still there as well.
Go home, man. Bug will be out of school pretty soon.
Ain't you, Michael.
Go get Bug. I'll see you tonight.
Michael seems like he's at the stage now where he will handle any disrespect on a real level, so Spider better be careful.
Why you ain't tell Duke?
Huh?
Why you fucking with Duke, nigga?
I ain't fucking with nobody, man. He just act like a bitch, that's all.
They were kinda fucking with him. He wasn't acting like a bitch, he simply asked for the count and they refused to give him one.
Fall into a pattern. They all do over time.
Someone say overtime?
Is this Lester's new look, or is it just because he was doing undercover work? He looks casual, but I'm used to seeing him in a suit.
Lieutenant, you get any word from downtown on when they're gonna start paying out the OT again? Because we go on double shift on these surveillances.
They haven't told me anything.
I love how all they need to do to keep this guy on side is to compliment his little model of his future home from time to time, and he just turns the other way and lets them do whatever the fuck they want. A dream boss.
See if you can get your take-home car back.
Budget officer called an hour ago, telling us to relieve colonels and below of take-home vehicles.
Even colonels are getting their cars took back. That is fucked up. Could he make cuts in any other place? I guess not.
You ain't need to put in time on the corner if you don't want to. I mean, you doing enough here with Bug to get paid.
Well, at least Michael's somewhat thinking of Duquan and not wanting him to go to jail. I'd much rather see Duquan just chilling in the house.
You beat me. Oops.
Hey, well done, Bug. I wonder what Duquan will do with his newfound time as well. Can I say hopefully something positive? Am I jinxing it?
Shit never fucking changes.
No, McNulty's back on the booze. Fuck. It's the Major Crimes Unit that does it to him. He wasn't drinking when he was a beat cop, but I am looking forward to seeing the drunk McNulty face again.
Hey, Bunky Bunk! Come here!
Jimmy.
Come here, you virile beast. Come on, boy. Let me drink you, boy.
It's a shame that no one was around him to help encourage him to stay off the alcohol. He was a much better person for it. I don't want to see him fuck over Beatrice like this.
Pay you 50 cents on the dollar against my tab.
Cash only.
Blonde in the background's looking at him. This isn't good.
Well, we could always knock off a liquor store. G&L on Edmondson. Then Plexi, I'll take out the counter, man.
I'll cover you.
I got the door, no problem.
Oh shit. I'd love to see them turn into a criminal team because police money was so reduced. Obviously they're joking, but wow, what a story arc that would have been.
If they don't get enough of those, they'll go right to layoffs. Watch.
What the fuck do you care? You got all the seniority in the world.
Be a shame if they have to get rid of all them 20-somethings in the newsroom.
Are we focusing on the news aspect of this shit this season?
Someday, I want to find out what it feels like to work for a real newspaper.
Well, that would be quite an interesting thing to focus on. It's funny that this office is about 4 times the size of the police department's one.
They're gonna vote on a homeless ordinance, right?
Maybe not. Nerisse is making noises like she might throw it back to committee.
Yeah, well, find me some news somewhere.
I fucking hate the newspapers. This is as bad as focusing on politicians to me. I fucking hate journalists. Well, actually, I have some friends who are journalists, but I hate the majority of the press spinning bullshit stories to drum up fear in the public, which my friend who's a journalist does not do.
Just left him in the smoking lounge, hit him on the cell. What kind of people stand around watching a fire? Some shameful shit right here.
I agree with that though. Why aren't they out there throwing buckets of water on it, making themselves useful to cunts?
AP's got something on more cutbacks in city bus lines.
You don't say. Daily Record had it this morning. MTA trial balloon.
Even bus routes are getting reduced. This city is just gonna fall into ruin under Tommy's leadership for not taking the money off the governor just because he wants to be governor. Showing once again his selfishness.
Hey, Swag, it's me again. There's something's on fire over in East Baltimore. Surprise me with a nice pretty picture, huh?
Of course, he wants it to be put out, but not before he gets the scoop.
We want Clay Davis to go federal. Our state's attorney has developed that case.
You shouldn't want Clay Davis to go anywhere. Clay Davis needs to go in the bin.
Unless you get Clay Davis, you're willing to let the killing continue.
Look, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office are not here to do the job that your police department can't.
So he's from the US Attorneys. Surely he knows the city is underfunded though, so he's just ball breaking to be a prick.
I am not protecting him.
Then give him up.
It's Bond's call. Talk to him.
I have.
And he told your Republican ass to go fuck itself, huh? Well, let me double down on that.
Right, I get you. So the governor is a Republican. He wants to investigate Clay Davis to make the Democratic Party look bad. Got it.
And flip him? Clay might take half the Royce administration with him.
You included, maybe.
So he's being loyal to Clay Davis just because it might reflect badly on his political party and he might be implicated in some of the shit Clay Davis has done. Again, don't know if that was a wise decision by Tommy. He should have probably wilted. Plus, Clay Davis is a cunt. Give him up. It's ironic Tommy has more of a no-snitch policy than a lot of the street-level guys on this show, though.
With John Hopkins buying up everything north of Monument Street and tearing the shit down, I think we all see the writing on the wall in East Baltimore.
Yeah, they moving the hood out.
They're tearing down the corners that these guys deal on the east side. How are they going to counter that?
I think we need to take care of those most affected.
Meaning you.
I'm talking about Hungry Man and Parker and Ghost.
I'm sure you are, Joe. I'm sure you fucking are. I'm sure Marlowe doesn't see right through that bullshit. I'm sure he doesn't.
Let a fresh face get a shot at him.
I know disrespect, son, but how I delegate to my lieutenants is not a co-op concern.
Yeah, but how Slim feel about that, though?
Marlowe overriding Prop Joe's decision there.
It's just a thought.
Well, look, man. What's the percentage breakdown
Don't
in the new
sleep on
territory
Marlowe.
anyway? I mean, that's the first thing
He
we
up
need
to
to
some
figure
shit
out.
here.
Well, we start to see a divide in the co-op. I mean, he's right. Marlowe was basically exhorting, like, I don't care what you think, Prop Joe, I basically control this co-op now. It's not a co-op, it's the Marlowe show and you all work for me. Ah, fuck. Well, at least Bubbles made it to Season 5 alive. I would have never have thought in Season 1 this character would still be alive Season 5, for many reasons. So he's done well.
You don't stay here when I'm not around. That's our rule.
Is that his sister who let him stay when he tried to get clean in our earlier season?
You said.
He looks so much healthier than he has the last few seasons though. He must have not had heroin in quite a while. Good going, Bubbles. There is hope for Bubbles yet. But whenever he leaves the house, some bad shit is liable to happen to this dude. It pisses me off we never got to see that guy who was constantly beating the shit out of him last season get any sort of justice. Instead we saw Sherrod overdose and that guy just never reappeared. Fuck that guy. I want to see him tracked down and killed. Along with Officer Walker, my most hated. I hate him more than anyone in this show, Officer Walker. He better die this season.
I know where the clerk's office at.
Criminal or civil?
Criminal. Definite.
End of the hall, last door.
Hey.
Chris doesn't know no shit about civil.
They gave me a few minutes on the end of this day.
I'll go with you. Come by my house and get me.
How's this gonna go? Will Tommy decide to keep major crimes open, or is that the end of them following Marlowe? Don't get me wrong, I don't think they're getting much information following Marlowe, but if they started following his lieutenants, it would surely lead them to get some arrests off of the back of it. How long can Chris or Snoop go without killing someone?
If it happens. They floated this once before.
Still, you can go outside, give them
Holy
potential
fuck!
impact.
It's Gabe from Breaking Bad. You make the best cup of coffee in existence, my friend.
Probably so.
But just because Chicago does a little belt tightening, there's no reason for us to pull down. Whatever cutbacks there are shouldn't affect our ability to put out an excellent product.
Still a perfectionist, just in a completely different field, in a different life. I like to think of this as like an alternate universe, Gabe.
2-car fatal on the Beltway, 2 overnight murders in the city, and a fire ongoing in a Baltimore City row house for which we may or may not have our.
The real truth is, they need news no matter what. There is nothing worse to a journalist than a slow news day, which intrinsically shows the bullshit nature of their profession. Their job is to tell the people what is happening, not pull some shit out of their ass when they have nothing else to talk about just to sell papers, and not drum up small things into giant things in order to create fear in the public. That's my biggest gripe with the news. I have 2 gripes with the news. 1, they create and perpetuate stories to scare the public, and 2, whenever there's a mass shooting, they always show the picture and the name of the shooter, granting them the level of infamy they did it for to begin with. They play right into the hands of these fucking little incels and it infuriates me. It should be against the law for them to even report on that shit. They should only mention survivors, and fuck any newspaper that plasters these shooters' faces and names all over their pages just to sell a few more units. And in this day and age, it ain't even selling copies. They want clicks. For clicks, they're willing to let schools get shot up more frequently. Oh, it infuriates the fuck out of me. Why is he looking at a picture of Sergey? What the fuck? I wouldn't have expected Chris to bump into McNulty there. What is their play for Sergei? I mean, he already gave them all information, got jail. Are they just gonna speak to him to get information on the Greek, maybe? In jail? I have no idea why he did that play. Ah, so it's the offices of the Baltimore Sun. We must be focusing on these guys this season. They always do this when introducing us to a new set of characters, so I know the way The Wire works by now.
A building could be evacuated. To evacuate a person is to give that person an enema. The details, Miss Gutierrez. Baltimore Sun.
Language is a very important thing. Always remember your commas. And definitely don't evacuate people.
I might actually believe you if it wasn't Carlisle who took the shot. No fucking way I believe in this picture. Print me something else.
I take it Carlisle's got a knack for wheeling a little Barbie into the burnt out building shot just to make it more dramatic.
That's right. You don't evacuate people.
What?
Never mind.
There is no shame in looking up a word if you don't know it. That is how you improve your vocabulary. Every now and again I hear a word and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I humble myself and learn it. It's cool.
And they didn't even solve it, right? Story had no legs at all. Since then, what else?
This guy's like the newsroom McNulty.
Find out whether Carcetti or Nerys or whoever's behind it. You buttonhole them, find out what the hell's going on.
Why? Who's Ricardo Hendricks?
The drug dealer.
What the fuck is this they've just uncovered? I didn't fully follow that, but it's something to do with Tommy and a drug dealer.
Write the A matter on Ricardo's history.
Wait, she goes to strip clubs and I'm pulling clips in the morgue?
Yeah, this is definitely the newspaper department's McNulty.
I'll tell Rawls you can keep 2 men for Clay. The rest of it is shut down until we're able to dig out, okay?
Jesus Christ, so the major crimes unit is being reduced to 2 people. What the fuck? And nobody on Marlowe. That is absolutely pointless. Daniels had 1 season of a slight smile on his face, now he's back to a stern frown, preparing him for his future roles in the John Wick movies. Actually, he's way more chilled in those movies, and he's shooting people in the face, like in the 3rd one, left and right.
An ensemble that puts the B in subtle.
There's a B in subtle? Seriously. You look well, Herc.
Wow, it's very rare you make Herc look like the non-dumbest person in the room. Well done there, cop who I always forget the name of.
I'm buying the next round, right?
About fucking time!
I'm not used to having money, you kind of forget.
Oh well, at least Herc's doing well while the rest of the police force are flat broke.
They sell him a better piece of real estate to relocate his club 5 blocks west for $200,000. He clears $1 million for laying in the cut.
That is a fucking good deal he got there. They're gonna really kick up a hornet's nest running this story though. Tommy is not gonna be happy whatsoever.
Alright, front page, below the fold.
Yeah. Front page as well, fuck.
We need this property for redevelopment, and it's in the city's interest to allow Mr. Hendricks to relocate.
And is it in the city's interest to give him a property with twice as much floor space?
Okay, so she's already caught wind of this story about to come out. How is she going to prevent them from printing it though? It is quite a significant difference. He's walked away with $1 million and a new property.
Yeah, give me your on the record for Nerys. Yeah, shame we couldn't use what she just gave us.
What do you got?
It's mad to see them actually abide by the off-the-record rule. I'm sure that is broken all the time. And as expected, McNulty is back to his womanizing ways because when he gets drunk he just can't fucking help himself. It's shit to see, and I hope he's not still with Beatrice doing this bullshit. He'll get used to the mobile phones eventually.
I'm not. I'm just tired is all. I slur when I'm tired.
This is shit to see. I thought he was actually going to have some positive character progression, and he's just regressed back to what he was like the first couple of seasons. Not that it's not funny, but Beatrice is such a nice person, it's fucked up he's doing this to her. Are we going to see Bubbles buying heroin again to end the episode? Another fucking downer.
Bubbles. Yo. Huck.
I don't recognise that guy. Who the fuck was that? I take it he just knows all the fiends. Bubbles is looking sharp, man. It's nice to see him, like, back not absolutely smacked out of his head.
Watched the dancers for a few minutes, and he came over to me. Thought I was looking for a job.
Well, that's a good way to get a quote if you can. This is the Baltimore Sun Kima.
Times or Post, where else?
I don't know. This is still a pretty good paper.
News McNulty's gonna jump ship. Can't believe Jimmy is doing Beatrice dirty like this. It's so fucked up. Seriously, shame on you, McNulty. I used to like your drunken debauchery when you were semi-single, but now this is just fucked up, mate. I always worry whenever he leaves the house. What's his plan now? He better not be going back to get some vials. Stay away from the fucking heroin, Bubbles. Don't you do a McNulty. If McNulty has regressed, you need to progress to keep the balance.
You're going to fill a vacancy in the northern 4 to 12 shift. Freeman, Sidner, you two are assigned to the state's attorney's office to help grand jury the Clay Davis thing.
And just like that, the band has been disbanded once again. Just as soon as they get together again, they get torn apart. This show doesn't like keeping these guys in office working together as a team. It's like they're depriving us of the thing they know we want to see. Because as I've said many a time, David Simon is a sadomasochist. Hey! It's funny they're tying it in as well. Bubbles' new job is distributing the newspapers to the people for the Baltimore Sun. So I take it they broke the off the record rule then. She'll be so furious that it's her picture next to it as well. Wow. I suppose it was her fault for talking to the paper about it. She was trying to do damage control, but I feel like she added to it.
Yeah. Stay hungry like that. Good things come when they come.
Newspaper Lester Freeman there giving McNulty some wise advice. I better stop doing that or I will never remember these new characters' names, but it's always the same in the first episode. I just don't know who anybody is.
The Orioles will not pay for pitching. I should have never left the Bronx.
You see this?
What?
One of our clients on the front page.
Herc only cares about the fucking sports pages.
I'm a fucking martyr is what I am. Pull over some black minister, piss him off, and I lose my fucking job.
Herc works for Levy now. What the fuck? I don't understand what his new job is. But Levy is giving him way too much insider knowledge if he's about to break down the illegal finances of anything. He has completely misjudged Herc as a person.
That's my desk.
The fuck you say?
McNulty didn't have to be a douche about that. If there was many free desks, he could have just picked one. I don't know why he decided to be a cunt about it, but fair play. I wonder what he was more angry about there, the fact he just fucked over his new girlfriend or the fact that he was taken off Major Crimes Unit. Something tells me it was the latter. Okay, and that was episode 1 of season 5 of The Wire, More for Less, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, More for Less, what did I think of that? Actually, not too much really progressed in this episode. It was again one of these episodes at the start of many a Wire season which is just laying the foundations of what's to come throughout the rest of it. We saw that the Major Crimes Unit had basically been on Marlowe since the end of last season, but as expected, with Marlowe not even touching the packages, they had next to nothing on him. That's not to say they couldn't have caught them slipping one way or another, and then just like that, boom, the rug was pulled from under them and they are now reduced to a team of 2, Sidnot and Lester Freeman, who have been specifically allocated to get the ball rolling on the Clay Davis case. So Marlowe is just, no one's even watching him anymore. That's crazy when you think about it. The top heroin kingpin of a city and all the police have been pulled off detail of going after it. That seems unrealistically incompetent even with budget cuts. But perhaps it is bang on the money in the level of incompetence involved. We saw Spider tell Michael that Duquan's been acting like a bitch. I don't think he was. I think he was just like a chilled out guy who just wanted a count and they were taking his kindness for weakness. There's a difference between being nice and acting like a bitch. Regardless, Michael saw the writing on the wall that Duquan wasn't getting the respect off those guys he needed to, so he pulled him off the corner and is basically now paying him a full-time wage to look after his little brother, which is cool. I'm happy to see Duquan do that rather than sell heroin. I just hope that he makes positive of the time he has, you know, in the hours before he has to look after Michael's little brother. Bubbles is actually keeping clean, which is great to see, and now has a job distributing newspapers for the Baltimore Sun, which I'm guessing is going to be the main focal point of this season. We spent a lot of time with these new characters in the newsroom. There was News McNulty, News Kima, News Lester Freeman, the whole cast were there, and Gabe from Breaking Bad was like the boss, so I don't know any of their names yet, but it's definitely interesting, and I do like that we're going to see how the news ties directly into people having to make changes to circumvent the stories being printed about them. Already we saw that lady who is a good friend of Clay Davis, I'm not sure of her name, the one that was hoping to be mayor instead of Tommy. Her face is now plastered on the front page next to that story of the drug dealer getting the new property and $1 million change, and she was not happy about that shit. The question is, when the news start printing stuff that the political figures of the city don't like, how did he actually combat that? Did he create a bunch of bullshit to mask it over so the news has nothing to go on? Or do they go after the actual newspaper itself? And I don't exactly know what his job title is yet, but it appears that Herc is now working for Levy. A, how the fuck does that happen? And B, Levy better watch whatever he says around Herc, because as we learned from the Royce blowjob incident, Herc just can't keep his mouth shut about anything, which is ironic because if Royce's secretary had taken that advice, there would have been no blowjob incident. We saw Chris going into the law offices as well and getting that photograph of Sergey after reading his file. Sergey is doing life in jail, so I can't imagine them wanting to get rid of him. So the only thing I can think is they're going to go and actually speak to him in jail to try and get more information on the Greeks network. I think this will end badly if they continue down this path. Marlowe is one thing, but the Greeks are like the international shadow crime organisation protected by the terrorist wing of the United States government, no less. And if they are in some way planning to get up to the Greek in any negative way, they will get quickly dealt with and realise they have overstepped their mark by a large margin. It's also a bit crazy to see Chris and Snoop not actually being heavily investigated in relation to all these bodies that were pulled out of the vacants. It's like that story just died a death at the end of last season and they're sitting chilling fine again. I know there wasn't that much evidence on them, but they were definitely the primary suspects of 22 murders. You would think that they would be getting watched until the end of time, but no. And I do feel for Tommy, Jesus Christ, it's partially his own fault at this point though. His ego and wanting to progress up the ladder and become governor thwarted him from accepting the $50 million off the current governor, which would have taken away almost all the school debt sans $4 million, and then he would only have to reallocate a small amount of budget in order to keep his ship in order. But because he is so desperate to work his way up to governor, he turned down the $50 million, and now every other element within the city is suffering due to the cuts he's having to make across the board. Absolute selfish bullshit. Some people in my comments always tell me I'm being too hard on Tommy. Tell me how this in any way is being too hard on Tommy. The only sacrifice he would have made is to give up the school system to the state. It's bullshit. Fuck Tommy at this point. But probably the worst part about this entire episode for me was that as we got into it, we soon learned that McNulty is back drinking and womanizing again. And he's got a beautiful, really nice, amazing lady waiting for him at home every night in Beatrice, and the fact that he's fucking just decided to go back down that path again, it almost brings into question the character of these other detectives that we know and love. I mean, it's Kima and Lester and Bunk that are part of the drinking culture within that department that clearly wooed McNulty back into that life. Now, obviously, we can't hold other adults fully accountable for the decisions of one adult. But when everyone else around him was needling him and he clearly had a problem with it in the past, they are certainly not innocent in his regression. And he just can't help himself when he's drunk. It's like it goes hand in hand. As soon as he gets a beer in him, all he thinks about is pussy, which is not his own. And they set Beatrice up to be such a lovable, nice, happy-go-lucky person. It's like, how fucking dare he do this to Beatrice? It's one thing when he's got a marriage on the rocks, by the way, on the rocks because of his previous cheating while drunk, but still, in the first season, him being that debaucherous was kind of acceptable because him and his wife had it was long done. They tried, but it was done. So when we saw him with other women, it wasn't as bad. This is just fucked up. He's breaking Beatrice's trust, he's disrespecting her 2 children who he made an effort to get to know, and he's calling her and filling her with the exact same bullshit he used to spin back in the day and the same shit that Kima used to spin to her girlfriend. At which point does he just realise the problem and cut his fucking balls off? Jesus Christ, my man cannot control himself. And it almost turned him back into the person he used to be as well. That whole season when he was walking the beat, he was very smiley, happy, and actually looked like he was gonna make a good beat cop. Now he's back to being a smarmy smartass, answering back to Daniels, kicking the desk out of frustration that the major crime unit has once again been disbanded. It doesn't help anything, it just makes him come across as a petulant little child, and he needs to, at this point in the season, man the fuck up, because time is running out for him to actually redeem himself. And we did see Carver progress even more as an authority figure. I mean, we saw him learn a bit and get smart over the last few seasons, but we haven't seen him make an entire room of police officers shut the fuck up because he's just screamed at them yet though. And he did that this episode, and it's cool to see him almost becoming a no longer ignorant, authoritative, smart individual. Compared to where he started, he's made a ridiculous progression, especially in comparison to Herc, who started at the exact same place he did. They just took completely 2 different paths due to differences in intelligence and ignorance levels. The one downside is I was hoping we would get to see an update on what's happening with Randy and also an update with Bunny Colvin and Naaman. Hopefully we see these stories in future episodes. Perhaps that's the end of Naaman's arc. I imagine he has a better, happier existence now. He's living with Bunny, so maybe that is the last time we see both of those characters, because that would make sense to end there, because it's a nice ending for Naaman. But I definitely want to see more of what Randy's dealing with, because he was going through shit at the end of the last episode. They can't just not update us on how he's doing in the group home. But so far, to be honest, I haven't seen a drop in quality. It's more par for the course. It is what I see as Wire writing. It felt like a Wire episode. It didn't feel like a lesser one. It felt like your traditional Wire intro episode where they were throwing a lot of new characters at you and setting the groundwork. But again, that's par for the course at this point, and that's just how The Wire rolls. So maybe it goes downhill from here, but if it maintains this level, it will be a good closing season to what was a great show. So here's hoping it maintains its consistency, because I have heard so much criticism about this season, it's making me fucking anxious. But yeah, all in all, a very strong first episode, and I cannot wait to see what happens next time. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this video around to anybody you think might appreciate it or want to watch this series along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to on YouTube. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and the channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.